Welcome to the Casual Adventure Notes podcast, the CAN podcast. Lazy, easy listening about little life's adventures.
And lessons.
I'm Doz.
And I'm Devy.
Let's get started with our palette cleanser. Palette cleansers are designed to be refreshers or restart, something a little bit light just to kind of kick us off, reset us from whatever we've been doing for the day, and just so that we get an opportunity to learn something new, hopefully. We are going to stick with the same palette cleanser that we did last time, which is reading from our 101 Things I Learnt series. We'll keep with the psychology theme. But Devy, I think you should be the one reading it this time.
Yeah, because I am holding the book. But you can choose a number.
I would love to choose a number. Let's go with number 6.
6. All right, 6. All right, 6 is, the title is A 7-Point Scale is Really a 5-Point Scale. Jeez, it sounds mathy. When surveyed, many people don't like to give extreme responses such as never or always. For this reason, a 7-point response scale is usually most effective as it allows the respondent to avoid extremes while keeping 5 clear options in play. Those with that option or judgment can select a midpoint, while those with mild or strong opinions can demonstrate their learnings without being absolute. Surveys with an even number of responses options usually should be avoided, as a lack of midpoint forces respondents who would like to answer neutrally to indicate an inaccurate learning. That's actually really quite true.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah,
I think it's just calling it out. It's something like I think we kind of assumed, but we never really acknowledged.
Yeah, I think humans are like quite, we're all quite complex, and so you need to have a spectrum of options, and it almost comes down to like in a majority where you don't want to be saying you absolutely hate this or you absolutely love this. It's like, I like it or I love it. It's almost part of being like, chilled and relaxed and not wanting to come across as, one extreme or the other.
Yeah, for sure. Although I love, like when I do those surveys, especially like those personality tests, I always get extreme. Like I hate picking a middle answer. So my general response to those things is always strongly disagree or strongly agree or whatever the extreme version is.
Yeah, I think it's like it almost depends on the day you're doing a survey, because if you're just in like the foulest mood, you're probably going to be ticking towards that extremely negative side.
Yeah.
Then similarly, if you're catching on a good day, it's going to be on the other end of the spectrum.
For sure. That was a fun one, actually. I think I learned something. I don't know if it was like brand new, but it was definitely something I never really like picked up or acknowledged before. So that's kind of cool.
The even number of responses is actually quite true, because it means that, you don't have that neutral, midpoint position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very good. All right. Love it.
All right. Let's go into our main courses. So what's been happening this week? I think you found something in my house that you were
I found many things. Yes. So, in the house, there's like a drawer that's filled of 100 clean, but 100 jars that previously contained pasta sauce or any sort of glassware really, and it's just kind of building up. And then on the top, I think the bottom cabinet. It's just full of bags to a point where it's just vomiting out. So you really can't even close the door anymore. So it kind of brings us a topic around like these very strange, savings behavior that, I think we're all sort of guilty or conscious of, probably not conscious, but unconsciously doing all the time.
Yeah, I am guilty of being a bit of a hoarder. I like to hold on to high quality jars.
High quality jars, yeah.
Because I think they have potential. So like, I'm not going to like eat a yogurt cup, clean that out and then reuse that. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to because I don't see the potential. But like a pasta sauce jar, like, yes, first of all, it's made of glass. Second of all, the lid is like easy to kind of like reseal. like you can put whatever you do. And I do like the jars that I keep, at least, like I do reuse them for a lot of things. Like I make marinades in it. I make sauces in it. Sometimes I infuse my tequila. Like I use it for a few things. I just think it's wasteful to throw it out, right?
Yeah, yes, I think it's, if that's your purpose of keeping them, then yes, you're being very economical. You're trying to save the environment by reusing, recycling. But I guess if you think about it from like a dollar's perspective, like how much are you really saving by using a jar, once or twice again? But I do actually agree with you about retaining things, because I really love Gotcha milk tea and their little cups, because they've got like such cute designs. So like the latest ones have been like all these Pokemon characters, which
I've seen them. Yeah, no, they're really cute. They're good because they're high quality cups. They're plastic.
So what makes it high quality again? Sorry.
They're like a harder plastic that is like sturdy. It's like almost if you buy those like plastic picnic cups, like it's almost like the same quality as that. And I guess in comparison, because they actually just released a new range, it's like a Hello Kitty range, which I love. I love Sanrio. So I wanted to buy that, and I actually probably would have kept the cup, but they changed it. It's not plastic anymore. It's like hard cardboard. So that's going to like deteriorate over time. So that's not considered high quality in my eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of gross when it becomes like more paper based, because then you're like, it's obviously absorbing some of the whatever food, drink, or whatever's in there, versus plastic where it's like, you can wash it and be like, yeah, it's clean. Yeah. That's so funny though, because if you go to a lot of parties that are hosted by your uncles and aunties, it's those red cups that are always prevalent. These like red beer bong cups that you can get, I think probably like when first made popular in like a lot of those American teen movies.
Yes.
But they get reused and washed a lot. And I always like see like, previous like marks where people have written their names on it.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Look, I'll be honest, like I kind of get it from both perspectives. So personally, I know those cups are purposely brought to be thrown out because they're like party cups. But I've been to parties where they reuse it. Like I've been to a party where I actually go to throw out that cup after I finish using it, and the host stops me to actually like wash it. They're like, no, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? But like I get it, because it's like hard plastic. So like they're not wrong. Like they're technically doing the right things economically and for the environment. Like it makes sense. But I think my associations for those cups are like, oh, but you buy them to be disposable because you buy them in like bulk most of the time as well. So it's like,
I mean, how much are they really? Again, sorry. I mean, like, I'm sure, it's.
I don't know. But I don't think it's really about the price, right? Like I think like when I like collect jars and stuff like that, it's not actually about the price. Like it's not that I can't afford to buy other mason jars to use or anything like that. I think it's just a waste to not use something that's there, that looks all right, that feels like it is, it has potential to be something else. And I have like actively used it. I have a really close friend that's kind of inspired me to be more sustainable within my means. I found it really hard. Like we're getting more educated about how to like live more sustainably, how to like recycle and like do better for the environment and for the future. But I find it really hard to put into practice. Like I feel like I'm still learning. I feel like I don't always get it right. I selfishly feel like I'm still spoiled with convenience and I still like steer that way. So she said to me, if you're trying, it's still a start. And the most sustainable thing you can do is to use what you already have. So if you brought a pasta sauce that goes into a glass jar instead of a cardboard box, which you could argue is more sustainable for the environment. But if you're using that jar again, that's being more sustainable. You're repurposing something.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. It's like, when people talk about like sustainability and being friendly to the environment, you have a lot of people that, for example, are really against, use of leather items.
Yes.
you know, sometimes, you know, people who have leather jackets or leather wallets use them for like 10, 20 years. So arguably that is, you know, more sustainable than your sort of fast fashion stuff that's purchased where you're, you know, in that 20 years purchasing, you know, maybe up to 10 wallets or jackets, you know, to use.
Yeah, I also think it's like, I don't know if I'm projecting. I also think it's rough when you put pressure on people to don't buy fast fashion. Do you know how they're treated? Do you know how much they get paid? Like, you know, instead go buy the $200 top that's like locally produced. I'm sure everyone would love to be able to afford a $200 high quality locally produced top where the, you know, person who created it got paid a lot. Like, I get it. I think that would be the ideal. But the problem is social economic difference exists. So I think it's like, I think it's really
it's so much more prevalent now because of the, you know, cost of
so
living crisis.
tone deaf when people put pressure on others when they don't know their circumstances.
Yeah. It's the same with like fast food because like fast food is quite cheap. And that's why, you know, sometimes people associate fast food with certain people. But, you know, if that's what you can afford, then, and you have to eat, then what are you going to do?
Exactly. You don't know someone else's story, so it's not fair. I think every human can do better, definitely, for the world. Like, I definitely think there's more things we can do. And sometimes people know that they can do better and they don't. And, you know, myself included. But I think there's kind of like a balance, I guess.
Yeah, I think you just do what works for you at the end of the day. You don't have to do anything else that someone's advising you and, you know, doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. But as long as you're not being actively wasteful, you know, out there killing whales, I don't know, that sort of stuff, then, you know, will be it.
Speaking of balance, I saw this really funny meme the other day and I thought it like articulated like the world in general. They say like, no matter what topic you're talking about out loud ever, if you end with, you know, but it's all about balance, you just get nods of agreements around the room.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
It's like at, you know, work when you use the word strategic or like something that is like technical but, you know, sounds, it's very uncontroversial but so much agreeable that people just accept, you know, what you said previously to saying that word.
It's a really good way to wrap up a conversation, to be honest.
Yeah. Or let's just, you know, all like regroup at, you know, once we've fully assessed the situation or something like that. Yeah.
I love corporate slang. I know like people make a lot of fun about it, but like I find it funny too, but I think that's also part of the charm. Like I love the cringiness that comes with like all the little like terms in corporate to kind of just get away with like almost not knowing or not doing enough. So it's like, oh, we'll circle back on that. Oh, let's take it offline. Like I love that. Like personally, I use it sometimes as a cop out. Sometimes it's like intentional and strategic because I'm trying to like bring the original intention of the meeting back to like its original intention.
Purpose.
So like in those circumstances, I actually am using it, I think, like well, but oh my God, there's definitely been times where like I just don't know the answer or I didn't want to deal with it at that time. So I just cop out with the whole, let's take this offline. Oh, let me get back to you after I speak to the team.
It's such like, you know who do that the best? Consultants, like especially when they're presenting or explaining stuff, and because they're, you know, coming into a project and they've not got the full like knowledge or background,
they don't have
but they really present so well, and there's always people just nodding their heads and they're like, yeah, that sounds like it really sounds a good plan. Yeah.
I mean, you always have to believe consultants because they get paid so well anyways, right? Like their job is to be experts and be able to like apply like a external perspective and add a layer of expertise and unbiased to like whatever work you're doing. So you almost have to agree with them. And then, like you said, they frame it so well.
Yeah. But sometimes I think there's been situations where I know the background a lot. So when they're explaining stuff, it's not like they're explaining anything really. It's just a lot of
Fluff
and nice I guess, dictionary
Yeah.
sort of words and whatnot. How do we end up with this conversation? I think this is probably one we could probably talk for ages. Well, for at least for me, because, I work a lot with consultants.
Yeah, we should pick this up actually. Kind of like do a little bit of research on the corporate slang and strategy of how to like go about work, and kind of just like the different industry as well. It's like, what's the differences between consultancy versus agency versus client side? Like, how did that all come about? Like, when did we get to a point in our life where like we needed consultants to come in instead of bringing someone in house? Like, what's the background behind that?
It's because they have a thesaurus and they can use a lot of nice words.
Soft skills are a thing, though.
Although ChatGPT has now really taken over and started, being much more widely used. And I definitely use it in a lot of, things around like paraphrasing things in a much better way.
Oh, me too. It's my brainstorm pal. Like, I love if you don't have someone you can like quickly call on at that point in time to kind of like bounce an idea or bounce away or something. I like use ChatGPT or equivalent to bounce.
And it never judges, no matter how dumb or incorrect.
It's actually quite polite. It's been trained to be quite nice. So then you're kind of like, oh, I'll come back to you.
Does it actually apologize sometimes if it like can't answer? Oh, yeah.
Like if you go, so like the way I prompt, like let's say it's helping me write something. If it writes it a certain way and I'm like, that's like wrong, I'll be like, no, you got it wrong. More like this, include this. It opens with sorry. And I'm like, oh my God, no, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's all right. It was my fault. I didn't brief you well enough. But yeah, anyways, on that note, I think we can probably wrap up for the week. We always like to end our episodes with our little dessert, which is an intentional moment of time to appreciate the sweet moments of the week, the day, the hour, whatever recently been going on. What's your sweet moment that you want to call out or be thankful for?
My sweet moment was definitely lunch today. I've been craving a steak for the longest time and I had one and it was delicious.
Yum. Always love a good steak. I think what I'm really grateful for is this is episode 2. It's a really good segue to our meal prep, which is where we talk about our goals, either personal or about this podcast. Last week, we talked about how it would be great if we could keep this up. We wanted to target like something weekly and for this to kind of extend more than one episode, and it has officially as soon as this is released. So I'm kind of grateful that this is something that we've started and we're continuing, and hopefully we can keep going.
I don't think we can probably use it all the time because, we need to come up with some more original goals.
Yeah.
But yes, I think,
I think it's
the
still
fact that
appropriate in
we've done
episode
this
2.
a second time,
Yes.
claps.
Yeah. Yes. All right. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in to the Casual Adventure Notes podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you later.